This video was made possible by Gamersgate.com. Download games anytime, anywhere. Skip it up and that up. Alright guys, once again, just a friendly reminder, the reason you are seeing a shit ton of Fear 2 footage is because on Halloween, the 31st, I will be releasing my Fear 2 and Fear 3. Maybe the Fear 2 review will come earlier, but I'm releasing definitely by Halloween both the Fear 2 and Fear 3 reviews. So my news stories, because those are the only games I'm playing right now, you're going to see a lot of Fear 2 footage and a lot of Fear 3 footage, because people have been asking me questions on Facebook, the Review Tech USA page, which again I strongly recommend that you actually go there and like, because I put all of my updates, my videos, and what I'm doing on there. People have been asking why they've been seeing so much Fear 2 and Fear 3 footage, so now you know. I've mentioned it before, but if you didn't see the video I mentioned it in, you're probably wondering why. So now you know. So more bad news about Capcom. They're screwed. Yoshinori Ono, who is the game producer behind, or video game producer behind the Street Fighter series, put up a very, very disheartening tweet on Twitter, and this is what he had to say. So someone asked him if Ultimate Street Fighter 4 is coming to the PS4 and Xbox One, and this is what he said on Twitter. I'd like to try for next gen, however, we don't have the resources. Next gen port for Ultimate Street Fighter 4 would be sweet. So let that sink in for a second. The PS4 and Xbox One are coming out in around about a month, a little less than a month for the PS4 as of, well, today, exactly a month for the Xbox One. They're getting pre-orders out the ass. People are, you know, they're going to have a decent install base from the get-go. Next gen is happening, and Capcom doesn't have the resources to simply port their biggest fighting game franchise over to the next gen consoles, and it would just really have to be a port. All you would have to do is upscale the resolution and tighten up the textures, and fighting games don't take as many resources as like a AAA action adventure game or an open world game, and they don't even have the resources for that. Think about it. That is horrible. Now, we knew for a while now Capcom is in financial dire straits. They only have, as of a month ago or a month and a half ago, $152 million in the bank. They couldn't even make their own Grand Theft Auto 5 if they wanted to. Think about it. Grand Theft Auto 5 costed $266 million to develop. So the bottom line, the reason why I'm stating all these things is Capcom really is in serious trouble. I think a lot of people, when I made my previous video about them only having $152 million in the bank, just kind of brushed it off. Oh, they're Capcom. I remember getting games from them in the 80s for the NES. They'll be fine. I really don't think they will be. I mean, okay, they're coming out with Dead Rising 3, but I really think that Microsoft bankrolled that. A lot of the development costs were, Microsoft was throwing pennies over to Capcom. They were the ones financing that. That's why that game exists. But they don't even have their own resources to simply port. Like I said before, it wouldn't be a big challenge. Bring the biggest, not only the biggest game franchise that Capcom has, it's the biggest fighting franchise ever. It's the biggest fighting franchise of all time. You would think they'd want to have that on the PS4 and Xbox One, and they probably do. They just can't afford to make it. Oh man, unfortunately, I hate to say this, I only give them 2 years tops, unless they have some game they come out with, some miracle game, or maybe Dead Rising 3 sells 1 billion copies. I don't see them lasting much longer than 2 years. I mean, they can't even develop games at this point. They're really that strapped for cash that their biggest franchises, they can't even port them. What are they going to do? What are they going to make DLC for Xbox 360 and PS3 games that are outdated forever? They're going to make profit off of that? Look, I know a lot of you are happy that Capcom is hurting right now. You feel they deserve it. And you know what? I agree with you. They've done some really stupid ass shit this generation that put them in this hole that they're in right now. They really did. But I don't want to see them go under. And even if you hate them, you don't want to see them go under, because I have a feeling they're going to be like when Capcom actually falls apart, they could be like what Lehman Brothers was to the economy back in 2008. They could be like the Lehman Brothers of the gaming industry. If they go under, they could start like this whole domino effect of downfalls. We're already kind of seeing it. I mean, THQ is gone. That's a perfect example right there. I don't know what Capcom was thinking, man. They were so desperate, I've said this before, to get that Call of Duty dollar that they turned beloved franchises that were known, like the Resident Evil series was known for survival horror. And with Resident Evil 5 and 6, they like stripped all the survival horror away. They brought it back a little bit with Resident Evil 6 somewhat, but they tried to make them these generic action games that no one went to Capcom for those games. If people wanted a first-person shooter that was like Call of Duty, they would, I don't know, go out and buy Call of Duty. They wouldn't go buy Resident Evil. You know what I'm saying? They wouldn't buy they didn't want Capcom just to copy another company, and Capcom just tried to do that. They tried to capitalize on the mainstream market, and in the end, it was the worst business decision they could ever make. Then you did the whole thing, Capcom, with pissing people off with on-disc DLC. People felt like they were getting robbed, and you know what? They should have felt that way because they were. You were trying to shove DLC down people's throats and milking them for every penny that they were worth. And people got sick of it. You turned all your franchises into generic shooters. People got sick of that, and now it's biting you in the ass. And I don't know if you can recover from it. I don't think you can. I hope you can, but I don't think you actually can. So anyway, guys, I could preach on all the screw-ups Capcom made for hours on end. Make sure to rate, comment, favorite, and subscribe. And as always, thank you for supporting Review Tech USA. Have a good one.